Well, here it is Saturday. I was kind of hoping to take the weekend off from the build and just kind of spend time with Mrs. BG and stuff. We've had very, very hectic weeks for the last couple months, but Mrs. BG is suffering from migraine today. She's going to be okay. It's nothing major. It's just she's, kind of winding down. But, and I still got that stupid chest thing. But I was complaining to Lucas about how this was matching up to the chassis pan here, right? And I was telling him that this forward section really have to force it to get into the holes. And he said, you shouldn't have to do that. And I'm like, well, it's how it's going together. And he goes, well, then there's something wrong. I was like, oh, I couldn't have made a mistake. There's no way I could do that. So after a few other guys suggesting, you got to go watch Clay Kemp's videos on how to build this particular model. I'm like, I want to stumble through this on my own accord and see if I can, see how good a job we do on our own accord. Well, after finding out how, I don't want to say rare, but how I guess rare. I don't know. This was like one of the very first rollout kits or whatever, so it's a big deal, I guess is the best way to say that. I decided, okay, I finally broke down. I was like, okay, I'll go watch some of Clay's videos. Well, 5 minutes into the video, I already found a huge mistake I had made. I didn't realize this was an issue. But if you look at the bottom, and don't pay any attention to these. I'm going to take these out and paint them because it's not working. It's not going well. But um, Clay is talking about gluing the firewall in, and he's not really following the instructions. He's kind of doing his own thing. He did the rear wall, the rear bulkhead, and then the firewall first, and then he's building the interior of the car in between the two bits. And I'm like, that is okay. I gotta, get down on my hands and knees, and we are not worthy. But in the beginning of this video, he talks about we need to notch out. I'm gonna see if I can drill in a little better than this. There we go. Need to notch out this section right here. See how that fitment is not fitting in there quite correctly? It's like that on both sides, and this is the exact measurement here, or exact size of the mismatch that I have going on. And you can also see that the firewall is not sitting on top of the frame. And I have done some testing. I was like, okay, if this firewall isn't matching up correctly, then there's probably going to be another problem, another major issue with something else in the interior of the vehicle, and that is this guy. Yes, this guy doesn't match. I tried it out. It doesn't fit in there. So I was like, that's a hell of a gap. Turns out it's because of this right here. So we're going to try and figure out how to gently slice this apart, move it all back together, get it to fit, notch this out as we should, and then we can go on from there, because I was having a hard time getting this lower piece here, these notches to fit in. And that was also causing issue with the lower A-arms fitting inside of these little areas here. I was like, oh, I have to do a lot of filing and sanding in order to get those to fit in there. I did have to clean up the holes a little bit, but I was like, that seems like a lot that I have to do in order to get that to fit in there. That doesn't quite seem right, from everything we've been hearing about how precise these kits are supposed to be and stuff. So yeah, definitely, that's on me. I didn't recognize that wasn't fitting in there perfectly. So now we're going to have to go and do some major surgery and get that fixed. So I guess that's what's going to be our project for this weekend, is getting that correction taken care of. So I'm going to give a shout out to Mr. Clay Kemp for letting us know to do that. And I probably will also watch a lot more of his videos so I don't have any more of these types of little hiccups happening. So yeah, that's just ugly. Super ugly. So we're going to get that sorted out, and then we'll let you know how it goes. And this probably will be an entire weekend for the fix right here. Good Lord, that's bad. But I wanted to be honest and let you guys know that was a problem that I had. So we'll talk to you a little bit later on. Well, that actually didn't take that long, maybe about a half an hour or so. The big trick was to go over the seams, the joins, With this stuff here, do one side at a time and just dribble this along the seam joint, and then gently work the pieces apart. And that stuff will open up whatever you've glued together. It'll open it right back up. Did have to go and do some sanding on the bits here because, of course, there was distorted plastic and stuff that we had to get rid of because it kind of makes it bubbly or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, it was easy to go back in there and take that apart. So that was actually almost disgustingly easy. So I thought we're going to be spending an entire day on it, but I'm waffling. So we have it back on the chassis pan here, and there is a little bit of a spring to it. And I think that's because my steering column is a little bit misplaced. So I might need to like shave off a little bit of the steering column so it fits back together correctly. That seems like it's the only thing that's keeping everything from going back together really well, but it doesn't want to pop back out of the holes here in the front like I was complaining about earlier. So that is awesome. Also, I checked our transmission tunnel gappage, and it mates right up to the front of the firewall or back of the firewall just fine. This is keyed, so it does fit down on that lower chassis piece precisely, and then there is a little nubbin down on there that fits inside the tunnel here so that it doesn't shift side to side. So this is a really good marker stone of where you need to have things at. So I'm like, this is a lot more important than I thought. I thought it was just something that you just shove in later on. I'm like, nope, this is helping you align some stuff and making sure that your distance between the fore and aft bulkheads are really right on. So that's pretty sweet. So this is a much more important piece than I thought it was. But yeah, we're really happy with how this is going to go back together again. But because this is apart now, we're going to seize the opportunity and go ahead and do the detail painting on some of the bits back here. And I saw Clay slice those off, which is really funny because while I was putting this together, I'm like, yeah, maybe I ought to take the 45 minutes to an hour to try cutting these things off. Oh, it'll be okay. I'll be able to get to those no problem. And then I saw Clay go and do it. I'm like, son of a gun. All right. So so that's really cool. Yeah, maybe I'll actually take this opportunity to actually try masking this off and see if I can't paint that firewall aluminum. I'm still liking it white though. I'm still digging it as it being a white piece. But man, this is a substantial dude right here. This looks like the Predator coming at you with his mask off. You are ugly, mother. All right, cool. Enough of the chit chatty. Let's get back to work. Well, it is now Tuesday. We're officially beginning part 2, even though we had some weird stuff going on Saturday. That really disappointing mistake that we had made, and I think we got it fixed. But we'll get to that in a little bit later. First, we spent Monday doing errands and stuff, but we did a lot of spray painting in the garage, however you say it. And I like these shocks, these coilover shocks. These are very robust looking, and I'm like, dude, I like those. Those are cool. The plan I have for these, I hope they paint up really well. But we primed everything, and then we went and based a lot of it in flat black because it's going to get another color like aluminum over the top of that. Aluminum, silver, titanium, silver, stuff like that. So, kind of a variation in colors and jazz. This little pile right here is all stuff that's been base coated, and then we have to do some masking on it so we can go on to the second and possibly even third colors for the pieces. So like this guy here, we got it based in primer white. I'm gonna mask it all off and do the satin black for the leg guard there, and probably just hand paint the shift lever. And then here's the driver's seat, and we have it all glued together as they suggested. And then we're probably going to mask this off and come back and do the aluminum or some sort of metallic finish around the outside of all that. And then I'm thinking that maybe this cushion in here should be a little bit different color than everything else, so we might come back and paint that too. Steering wheel, really nice steering wheel. What's really cool is I don't know how the steering wheels look in the new cars. I haven't done a lot of photo research yet, but This steering wheel looks like it's right out of one of the vintage NASCAR kits, and I think that's really cool. Let's see here. Oh yeah, our fire extinguisher tanks. Um, I tried hand painting them red, didn't quite go well, so I went to go reprime them white. I'm like, oh goodness gracious, okay. You know what? We're just going to probably base the whole thing in metallic, like maybe a silver, and then come back, mask off. Actually probably just yeah, mask off, do the red, and then go from there. So uh, thoughts and prayers on that one, and then the rear clip here we need to mask off and do the fuel cell top, which should be a red, I believe. And I'm kind of liking a flat red. I don't really want to do a gloss red, but I'm kind of liking a flat red on that. And then of course detail paint the bit on top there. And then let's see. Oh yeah, this little control module here that's supposed to be a red color, I believe. So we're going to remask all that and do that a little bit better. Steering bits, rack and pinion. I'm just going to hand paint probably like the rubber, the accordions on there. I can't remember what those things are called. Sorry, but yeah, the little accordion bits on there, and then dust covers. Thank you for shouting at the screen. I appreciate that. It helped me out there. But and then here's the other half of the steering column. So that's that. Let's just tilt up here a little bit, and then we'll go for a little walk. Oh, that's hard to see. Sorry. Um, this guy here, I had a little bit of a problem. I think I forgot to wipe him down before we went to painting, so he had a lot of fish eyeing and bubbling going on there. So we're going to reprime and repaint that piece. Uh, it's hard to tell. I guess this is a good enough image here, but this whole section right here is stuff that's going to get like touch-ups because I might have missed a spot or whatever, and that's going to get touch-ups in flat black, and then everything on this side is going to get its secondary color. So that didn't want to come out there easily. So a lot of suspension pieces on here. All this stuff's going to get a metallic coloring. Not sure yet what colors. I'll probably clip off chunks so I can do different colors so I don't get a lot of overspray. But there's that bit there. The wheels, we did do a gloss black on them because we're going to do a gunmetal over the top of that. I think that's looking pretty good. And then I just did like I just did across the top of the barrels. I didn't paint down inside there. I'm not sure how much we're going to see. So there's that. And then we have like our radiator that's going to get an aluminum color to it. And then we'll I'll mask off that. You know what? I better do that. I'll have to mask that. But I'll mask off that fan. And then our brakes. The brakes are good and the tires are fair. If you know the song, then you're cool. But yeah, got our brakes based in flat black, and then we're going to go back over and do them in like I think a mica silver or something like that, and then go back and do the brake calipers. Probably have to hand paint those. But yeah, so that's looking really, really good. So everything's kind of organized and set aside, and then we're getting on with it. As far as the car body is concerned, I haven't done anything with that since I primed it, because I do want to tackle Mr. Jeff over at the, Mr. Ferret Farmer there. He suggested that I go watch Clay Kemp's video on how to continue on this little roof ridge here. So I thought, oh, okay, cool. I'll check that out. And I saw how easy that was, and I thought, yeah, I want to try that. I want to try that out. That looks like it should be something that's either going to go really, really well, or something that's going to end up making me just like unsubscribe from Jeff. So we'll see how it goes. But I think you all know how how that goes. But yeah, so far we're just kind of moving along here. The chassis, we have time. We're not too long yet. Okay, because this is going to be another compilation video, I hope. So got the chassis here, and we have this very interesting little plate here that was we're borrowing this from Lucasy, who got it from Jim himself. He printed this up to help jig up stuff. And when I told Lucasy what I was having trouble with here, how it wasn't quite fitting right, he goes, put it on this jig and see if you can figure out your mistake. And I'm like, yep, okay. I watched that video from Clay, and I was like, yep, okay, see my mistakes. This thing really helped me out because it's keeping that chassis pan flat and keeping it from curling or buckling or whatever. So I was like, yep. The little pins that are on the bottom of the front clip and the cockpit area, those should just drop right into this chassis pan. You shouldn't have to fight it like I was doing. So I'm really glad we found that mistake now before we started adding on suspension components and getting all of our geometries out of whack, and then having weird gappage in the wheel wells where the wheels aren't fitting up quite right and everything. So, and there's our pretty little engine just mocked in place. Again, we mocked that in place so we could check the spread of these bars here and make sure everybody was happy, hunky and dory. So there we go. All right, we're going to get onto a few things here and get to some more spray painting and then maybe some brush painting later today. But we'll check back in when we have a little bit more to share. Well, happy Thursday, folks and folksettes. We have a lot to cover here, so we're going to try and get along with it as fast as we can. Now, yesterday we didn't have a lot of chance to do stuff, but on Wednesday, after we had done our quick update, we were able to get back to work and do a lot of touch-up painting, a lot of brush painting stuff. So check it out. Here's our rear end here with the, and we did this in titanium gold, and then went over it with a flat TS80 flat clear to just sort of give it more of a cast look. And boy, I like that. I really like that. We did do a light wash with the Tamiya panel liner. That looks so awesome there. Here is our intake box for the radiator. This comes apart right now. We haven't glued it permanently in place, but look at that. So the radiator, that's two pieces. This piece here, that's two pieces. The box the radiator is sitting in, that's two pieces. And then the exhaust ports here, that's actually another two pieces. So this is quite the sub-assembly buildup right here. And it went together really, really well. We did have to do a little bit of filing. Oh, this does not want to focus. I don't know why autofocus is on right now. But we do have to do a little bit of filing right in here so we could get these pieces to fit together a lot better. Not a big deal at all. Probably the paint was the issue, but I mean, maybe the paint was just a little too thick. But yeah, everybody goes together real happy like. And I just think that's a real slick piece of engineering right there, man. That's just cool. So there's that. Our engine, I don't think I've shown this outside of the mock-up, but I really like it. I like how awesome it is. I've been doing some photo research on how this thing is supposed to look, and we're not far off. We know we probably have a couple of colors incorrect here, there, whatever. But hey, at least things are facing the right direction. I was going to put this on the rear along with that. Turns out this is actually part of the watering system, the cooling system. This is the water inlet pipes that go to each individual cylinder. That's really interesting. I've never seen that done before. That's really cool. Yeah, we did a mock-up to find out how the hose pipes are supposed to fit on there to go to the radiator, and it's actually they fell right into place. So I was like, that's awesome. Even though we couldn't really tell this area right here was where the lower radiator hose goes to, but it's not actually lower. They're all basically the same height. But yeah, I like how this guy's looking really good. Really liking this. Now, if I was going to take this one step further, actually, I would say if I was going to take this two steps further, I would first smooth out these valve covers and make them nice and pretty. But I didn't do that, so I'm a bad boy for that. But wiring this engine would be as easy as making mud, because these are the coil packs right there, and they just plug right in down there. So I mean, you just have to do an individual wire for each one, and away you go. They would all be darn near the same length almost. But yeah, really like how this engine built up too. That was kind of clever. I like that. But yeah, it was easy to paint too. So there's that. Driver's seat, we did do a final well, I should say we did do a final, but I still want to do one more pass of the rubber black on there. I just don't like how that's laying down. So we're going to see if we can fix that, because it's going to be seen through the window of the car. And then of course, here is the elephant in the room. And of course we had to pull off the firewall there because we had a misalignment on things, and I'm much happier with how it's going to fit together now. We've been working on this a lot. This is basically what sucked up most of our time for the last couple of days when we've been able to sit here and do anything. And then we got it all figured out and stuff. And then we're like, okay, let's go ahead and wedge this guy in here. It's going to match up with these holes here. And then this little lug right there is going to help everybody line up nice and true, cool. And then we went and slapped this guy down on top of there and realized we had to come back and trim a little bit off the bottom of that. Whatever this device is here, it almost looks like it's a buckle or something. But whatever that's supposed to be, we had to chisel off the lower half of that, not the lower half, but a lower portion of that because it was causing interference with the top of the transmission tunnel. Also, while we're talking about this, I do have to point out the fact that this does not go in there from the end. I was thinking we could just glue this in place, put this on top, put the engine in place, slip this guy home, and then put on the the differential, and tickety boo bob's your uncle. But, big but. Okay, no, sorry, I'm probably gonna get demonetized for doing this, but yeah, that doesn't fit in there because these flanges are too large. So you have to put it in place, whichever way it goes. I don't remember which way it goes. Put it in place and then put this down on top of it because that is so narrow there and blurry, so narrow in there that doesn't allow that to move through. So put the engine in, and then actually take that back. Put this in place. Put this on top of it, and then go on from there. So order of process is a big deal with this kit. I know that in the past with the monogram kits and stuff, you could just kind of willy-nilly put stuff together. There was still a little bit of an issue here or there, but this is very much so a no, this has to go first and then this goes, and I'm liking that. I'm liking that about the kit because it's like you can't just throw parts at it. So I like that. So we're going to do that, and then of course this hangs over this lower lip right here a little bit, so it's kind of finicky to put together. And I'm not going to do this on camera because I can't see what I'm doing. Oh yeah, that goes. There we go. But that's going to mock up like that and get the little pins in the holes and all that jazz. And I was thinking, while I was building this up, I was thinking, is like, we got these nice little locator pins back here, and of course the corresponding holes down there. Why aren't there any up in the front here? I mean, that would that help keep things aligned a little better? Perhaps. But if you do things the way that they do in the instructions, or if you go about tackling this way Clay Kemp did, where the centerpiece you do last, you put everything together on the wings first, front and rear, I should say, not wings. But you do all that stuff first, then you probably won't have the issue, and that becomes a moot point. But yeah, there you go. But that's all taken care of, and we got our firewall painted up. Yeah. Do you think you used enough dynamite there, Butch? like a 5-year-old with a tape gun. But hopefully hopefully it kept everything that's supposed to be white. So once we just sprayed this, so once this fully cures up, we're going to go back and mask and then try and paint this area here. I'm not even sure what that's supposed to be called, but the grommet or whatever that the steering column comes through. So once this cures up, we'll tape that off so we have a nice sharp edge around there. But yeah, that's going to be that, and we're done. Oh no, we're not done. Suspension pieces. I did these in titanium gold. I just thought that would look cool. So then I did a flat coat over them. I just thought, just to have a little bit of a tone variation, color variation stuff. We did do all the suspension pieces, and we did a flat coat over the aluminum on all that stuff. I really like that. It has more of a cast look to it. I imagine that's what that kind of stuff is going to look like. So that's where we're at there. And then, of course, my favorite parts, the shock absorbers, or the struts, or the shocks, or whatever you want to call them. Red and blue, well, yeah, there's little dots on there. I thought, well, there might be an in and an out. Who knows? I don't know. But I thought they looked cool anyway. So yeah, we did them in a transparent red over the silver color. Really looks cool. And then all we did for the center of that was just dribble in some Tamiya black panel liner, and that covers up the center of that really nicely. And I believe the orientation of these is actually this way. So there we go. All right, so that's going to be it for now. We're going to check back a little bit later when we have more progress, and we'll see you then. Okay, so we got that cemented in place there very lightly, and I was just checking the alignment of it. It was a little fiddly because it wants to kind of like tip out one way or the other. So we're just trying to make sure that it's staying in line while it cures up. And yeah, that was probably one of the easiest fixes I've ever seen for a model car. We need to align that up a little bit better before that cures up. How's that doing there? Yeah, I think that's gonna be cool. So just a little bit of added detail there, and of course we'll come back and shave it down. Or I could put a taxi cab number on there. That's so tall, but yeah, that's looking really cool. So we're gonna let that cure up, and then we're gonna move on to other things, and we'll come back when we have even more progress to share. But today is Friday, and will be the last day for this video. So hopefully we can get some more done here and there. Okay, so it's getting pretty late in the afternoon here, so we're probably going to go ahead and call it a day. But we have had progress made with the whole front clip and I don't know, main cockpit cage. We actually finally glued this all together. We did that about a half an hour ago. We pulled tape off. Oh, well, it was a lot of tape too. Pulled tape off that. The firewall painted up really, really nicely. I like how that looks now. I'm so glad we took the time to do that. And then we painted up the steering box there on the wall. And let's see here. So we did have to do, we talked about how the transmission tunnel, we had to do a little bit of work so that fit in there better. That fit in there so nice. It was kind of a tricky deal to put down the subframe and then put down the transmission tunnel and then stuff the seat in there and then put in the pedal box and then get it all, finagled and stuff, put it all together as a mock-up process. And then I was like, oh yeah, I better stick the drive shaft in there. And that's when I remembered, oh, that's right, it doesn't fit. So we took it all back apart again because the drive shaft is sandwiched between the subframe and the cockpit cage. So yeah, I had to take it all apart of it again, and then loosely place the drive shaft in place, and then rebuild the whole thing on top of that. That was a lot to keep track of. Swear jar is overflowing now. Oops. Speaking of swearing, there we go. I bumped the camera stand. I didn't realize I was that close to the edge of the desk. Now, the seat's not actually permanently attached yet because that seems like it glues directly to the chassis pan and nothing else. So I thought, okay, well, this is still free floating. So I haven't even painted this yet because we've been handling this so much. I haven't even painted this yet. It's getting slid around and everything. So I got some finger grease. I'm going to have to clean that up. But yeah, this guy is now one unit, and it's a lot more happy than it was before. I think while it's free from the actual chassis pan, I will go back and do a little bit more dribbling of some Tamiya extra thin, this pale green stuff here, or the bright green stuff, and just kind of reinforcing some of the attachment points here and there because we only did just a couple of basic ones so we could get everything tacked together and get it going. So it's looking a lot better. I am very happy about this. I did not have this type of success before when I was trying to fit everything together before I sliced it apart and fixed it. But this drops right in there, and the front clip drops right in where it's supposed to be also. And this is one of the situations where a lot of folks were telling me, a lot of good friends telling me, these kits are engineered so well that the tolerances are super tight, so you might have to be a little bit aware of that. I'm like, okay, well, this might be one of those situations where the tolerances are a little bit sloppy, but I shouldn't have had to squish the front end of the car in so much in order for it to drop into those holes, for these little pegs right here to drop into the holes. So yeah, that one little thing that we saw in Clay's video about shaving off the little nubs that stick out right on the subframe, right in there. Just cut those back a little bit or file them back a little bit, however you want to tackle that. That makes all the difference in the world because this whole front clip area here won't fit to this part of the frame at all, and it'll cause this whole front clip to kind of tip up at the nose. So that was the issue. Got that all sorted out, and we're super happy with it now. And yes, it probably put us about a week behind on our wanted schedule for this, but it is what it is. I am so much happier with how it's going right now, and I feel a lot more comfortable moving forward. We're going to take extra special super attention to the suspension building because that's They're not helping. There's no pre-done stuff on this for the suspension stuff. You have the attachment points, and you go and you put them on there. I got the rear end mocked in place here to see how that's fitting, and I got the gas tank filler area all painted up kind of nice. So yeah, sub-assemblies. Everything's a sub-assembly. So there we go. So that's it for that. Let's show you the body. We had a little bit of a spray session here this afternoon. Let's take this out of the way. So we ended up, you know, attaching that roof rail bit, and it's looking really good. We need to do another coat of primer. I got a little boogie in the paint right down there. Sand that out, no problem. My thing is, when I'm spray painting something, especially if I'm doing primer, and I see something like that land in the paint, I stop. I stop right there, I set it all down, and walk away, because I'm not putting any more paint on top of that. It's just going to be more layers of paint I have to sand down to in order to get that out of there. So that's just my painting philosophy. But yeah, everything's looking really, really good. And I think another coat of primer, and we'll be ready for paint. So that's really good. And I want to give a shout out to my buddy Jeff Ciancanelli for letting us know, hey, you need to take a look at that there and go watch this video, and that'll help you out. So thank you very much, Mr. Jeff. Appreciate that very much. And everything else is just, looking great. Engine's just chilling, waiting to get put in. Got this whole jar of suspension components and stuff we're going to be fiddling with next week, but that's going to be it for right now. I think I'm going to call this a successful fix that we did on this, since we're basically right back to where we started the week at. So but it's fitting, it's working, and I'm really excited about that. All right, so that's going to be it for us. Y'all take it easy. We'll talk to you again in the next one, and in the meantime, enjoy the long weekend if you're here in the United States, and we'll talk to you later on. Bye.